that, and then after that is done, we will talk about upcoming things, whether you still need to sign up and get your topic decided for your disability investigation. We'll talk a little bit about what the last test is going to look like. It's very similar to the others with a couple little things. We'll take a break. You're still on Unit 5?
Yep, because for some reason they left my account activated, so that's good though because I had the presentation on there, so I'm glad they never got rid of it. Yeah, well I think the reason probably why they the reason they probably actually kept it on there is because of the fact that we had all those special things set up on what?
He has such a huge amount of tech, and we'll talk about it and how we used it in the classroom. We're going to do notes on visual impairments tonight. If there's time, we're going to do the activity from last week that we did not do on hearing impairments because I do think it's valuable for you.
There we go.
And then if there's, how many of you brought pencils? Okay, so if there's time, we will do the evaluations for the course. You might have to share pencils because I didn't even think to grab them. Okay. But Nathan Simmons, Nathan, how old are you?
I am 18. Yeah.
So I am going to turn these lights down a little bit.
Okay.
Just so they can see that a little bit. Blue is his favorite color. Okay. And then if we need to show stuff, I can move around so we can show it. And he's why are you walking around with the phone in your hand?
It's a live stream for my YouTube page because and you'll see that later. I talk more about that.
Do you want me to hold it?
If you want, sure.
This is kind of how our relationship in school was too.
Okay.
Do I have to click buttons and stuff?
Yeah. That would be preferred.
You're gonna have to tell me if I'm on.
Yeah, you're good.
About me.
Yeah. So, I am 18. I love dogs. I go to Heartland Community College for school. I'll actually just get up close to this one. I have nystagmatism and autism. I also had glaucoma in my right eye. I like music as well. And when I was a very young person, like 2-month-old, I think it was, I had cataracts, which is the removal of the lens in my eye, which allows it to focus.
And he can't focus. We'll talk about that. You ready?
And I wear contacts as well.
Correct. Am I on you?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay.
So tools I need, and this is where we're at. Here, I'll grab this because I'm going to go over here and show some of these things. So, some of the, okay. Let's see here. Got to readjust. There we go. I share this YouTube page with a few of my friends actually that I made over at Heartland. We do our videos together. So, some of the different things, I've got various different things that I will lay out some.
It's a clown car.
I don't know, because one of these actually has an old pair of contacts that I can show to you guys so you guys can see what they actually look like.
Drop them?
No, I got it. I've held a lot of these before because I've been doing them a long time. So anyway, let's see here. First thing is magnifiers. So I have a few different types. This is one for like text, and if I have something small, like for example, there used to be a pamphlet in here. I guess that has since left me. But yeah, if you have something small, basically there's light on it, and you can read the small text, and you can focus it different depending on, what you're reading. And there's also a smaller one right here as well that does the same thing, except it's just got a little smaller of a viewing window for viewing smaller amounts of text at once. Okay, so next thing we've got is iPad, and I've got two different kinds of these because, see, now over at Unit 5, when I used to be over at Normal West, they used to actually provide iPad for me to use for my classes. But the thing is with Heartland is they don't provide any of that stuff through their Halo program over there. So I have to provide all the technology myself. So I bought this iPad mini recently for using in my classes. And it's got all my programs loaded on it because of the fact when I was still in Unit 5, they used my actual personal account for getting the apps. So I was able to keep the apps after I graduated. So I'll let that warm up. And then I've also got the one that I use for my home stuff. This one also has some blown up text and different things on it as well. And it's bigger, as you can tell, by the difference in size, which allows basically for me to be able to see stuff better on this. But the reason why I have the smaller one for school is because of the fact that it's easier to carry around, and that way I'm not carrying around this big one. And it's also in a more durable case than this thing is. Well, that's booting up because it's still taking its time. I've got the Windows computer. This is one that my dad has actually let me borrow because I need to get a new one. My sister let me have her old one, but it stopped working. The hard drive died, so that was great. Well, I can't fix a hard drive. That's one thing I do not know how to do. That's like a $300 fix, and I was like, I'm not willing to pay that on a machine that she didn't even pay for because it was given to her for free by Unit 5. So I'm going to get a better computer, but this is what I'm borrowing until Black Friday when I come get a better computer for cheaper. But this one does allow, for my vision programs to be installed, which those are on my iPad as well, so I'm not going to go too in depth on this, but it has a backlit keyboard, which kind of helps with my vision. This is what I actually use for desktop computers, and as you can notice, the letters are much bigger than an actual keyboard. Normally you've got like 12 size font on there, but these are stickers that actually can't be removed. They are permanently on there, which is a nice thing, so that way they don't peel off or anything. This is something I actually got when I was in high school, but I was basically told to keep it afterwards, so. That was one of the nice things. I was at least able to keep a few things. Yeah, well, that's because my mic wire got tangled. That's why it's not nice to have a Yeah. Well, that's because I got a little more professional in this YouTube thing than I was before. But that shouldn't happen again, hopefully. Otherwise, I will make anybody that is watching this, which we have one person apparently. But we'll make them dizzy, and we don't want to do that. So I'm going to let Misty sign the Wi-Fi on here because I don't have ISU Wi-Fi, so that way I can get all that stuff. Okay, what else we got in the meantime? Let's see. I've got enlarged text as well for like if I was to get a paper passed out to me, I can't have the standard 12 size font because of my not being able to see it. Yeah. They have to use a copy machine to enlarge the font size on stuff. This stuff I'm going to mostly show you underneath the glasses I can show you now, but some of the other like contacts and stuff I'm going to show you underneath the magnifier so you guys can see over there on that thing. These are actually a pair that I use for reading, and these are just for reading 12 size font because in the past I actually had to wear glasses over my contacts, but I do not anymore because I got better glasses recently. Got better contacts recently that allow me to be able to see a lot better without having to use these as my main thing. So I just have to use them for like really small font now.
When Nathan started at West, he did wear both.
Yes.
His freshman and sophomore year, maybe?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah, it was around that amount of time, and then junior and senior years when we
just went to the contact. And he had to. His vision is that poor, and that stems back to the surgeries that he had when he was a baby. And by baby, he was 2 and 3 months old and had his cataracts removed. Had his lenses removed because of the cataract. And so he hasn't ever really had the ability to focus the way, and that's the lens of your eye, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight. The lens of your eye is what allows your eye to focus on objects. It allows you to have images that make sense to you. He never has had that because he's never had those lenses, and so he goes to, where is it, in Iowa?
It's the University of Iowa.
Okay, so that's where his doctors are, and he has appointments that he goes to there. And remember that set plan that we looked at a long time ago, student environment task tools, and that was his. He's the one who somehow broke what kind of a master lock that he didn't like by dropping it over the atrium.
Yeah, right. That
did.
No, I would not have dropped over the atrium. First of all, it could hurt somebody, and secondly of all, I wouldn't have done that.
Then how did it break?
I actually have literally no clue how that actually happened. I'm not even kidding in the slightest.
We argue a lot. This is very.
So also, these are a pair these are my old pair, so I wear these actually when I go to sleep because I don't like waking up in the middle of the night and not being able to see anything because otherwise it's just fuzzy without my contacts in.
Do you sleep in those?
Yes, this is the pair I sleep in. I have a newer pair though that I do not, that I wear, around the house or if I need to wear them to somewhere. And they're smaller, as you can tell, and they're also wireframe, which I like a lot better than the plastic frame.
If you come up before he leaves, you can see how these lenses are, how thick they are, and how the shape.
You guys can come check those out later if you'd like to. This big one was actually used for these because they're so big with the end pieces, because that's what plastic frame ones usually do, is they have to have a bigger case like this so that way they can fit easier and not get all bent up. Another tool, this is actually one that the tools that Mrs. D gave me, and I still use this a lot actually to this day in my some of my math class, stuff over at Heartland, because I'm in community awareness, which we use these a lot. So I use that.
Why does that one work?
Well, first of all, the contrast is better than a normal calculator, so that helps. And then also, of course, the bigger buttons also help, and the bigger text on the display.
One thing we did when he used his laptop, and we did it as long as he used the same desktop in a couple classes, is you can get in and change the contrast colors. And what was one that we did, blue and yellow?
I don't think it was blue and yellow. I think it was, we had black background and yellow text, I think. Yeah.
So the contrast helps because it's a sharper image for him, and it's that really bright color against the dark color, and we set it so that all of, like with a regular desktop, it's going to be however the standard operating system comes. With his, we were able to manipulate the technology a little bit and get in and set his so that every time he logged on, it was always like that for him. So we didn't have to change it as he went.
Which there are some tools, more tools on Macs actually than Windows, and we figured that out because I was able to do some stuff at home on this computer that I wasn't able to do on the desktop at school. Macs kind of give you a little bit more versatility as far as zooming in on text and doing different things like that, where you have to go into a lot of settings on these to get them. And I don't even know how to do it on Windows 10. I can't figure that out because I have tried a little bit over at Heartland to modify some different things because they let you into control panel and stuff. You don't have to get somebody special to do that there. But I wasn't able to figure out how to modify it because they changed everything in Windows 10 and I can't understand it. Which I'm working on it, but I just haven't learned anything about it.
Yeah, he figures out, he tinkers with electronics and stuff.
Yeah, I repair electronics. I actually fixed an alarm clock recently because what happened was the display died on it. It was actually over at one of the schools that I was working at this summer. I think it was actually over at Kingsley where Darren works at one of the custodians that used to be over at West, but he transferred over to being a head custodian over at Kingsley. And so when I was working there this summer, the display went out on it, and they were like, if you want it, you can have it. And so I took it home, and I worked on it because he knew how much I worked on electronics. And so I got the display running with just a few capacitors replacements on the board. So yeah, I am able to fix quite a few different electronic devices. Now when there's small pieces on a board, I actually have a magnifier, and I wish I had brought it. It's actually It's one my grandpa actually made. It uses a brick to hold the magnifier down, and then it's got like a metal arm, and then there's this like literally a magnifying piece of glass that they had inserted in it. And so that's what I use when I work on electronics, so I can see the different little components on the board, because it really magnifies a lot more than a standard magnifier would.
What do you want to show 'em?
Okay, so I think we'll get to the technology portion and things on the board.
One thing that, and I want to jump in because you brought up working. When Nathan was a
Yes.
freshman, he was in, are you talking about that in here at all?
I was going to after I
there
showed
like
him
a
this.
slide?
I don't
Okay,
think there's a
I'll
slide
shut
for it. Yeah. I'll tell you guys about that as soon as we show this stuff up on the board.
So do we need this?
Yes.
It was really kind of cool what he did.
Yeah.
Except for the driving the thing. You weren't supposed to drive.
Well, that was actually just one of the other custodians that didn't like it and complained about it. So I wasn't.
You can't drive.
Yeah.
You
Well,
were driving the, what's it called, the gator
yeah.
around the school.
But I was technically allowed to actually.
Technically allowed.
Yeah, because I was told I was allowed to. But yeah.
I can't see who's driving the gator around the building. Okay.
Okay,
What
so
do we got? And I'll zoom in.
yeah, the first thing, this is my iPod, and I actually use this for magnifying things like when I'm out in the community, because I used to actually have a magnifier, but the thing is, Unit 5 took all that stuff back afterwards, and Heartland doesn't provide any type of, yeah, in which Heartland, I was getting to the point of Heartland doesn't provide any of that tech.
He was getting-
So, yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I've just missed you so much and interacting with you.
So I just use a camera usually to magnify on this. There are magnifier apps available for iPods, but I personally just use the camera app on this because I haven't figured out exactly one that works the best for me on the iPod, just because it's an older piece of with tech, but I do have one. It just doesn't work that well. So I personally don't use that one as much. We'll get to the tech first, and then I'll show the contacts afterwards. That's an old pair, so not too much concern for them anymore, because they don't. The prescription in them is not good enough to work in my eyes anymore, anyway. So, the way that this would work, and it still does work this way over at Heartland. The teachers would send me documents. They're PDF documents, just a standard PDF. Yeah, you can do that. And then I will receive the email, and I will put it in this program called iAnnotate, which I will show you guys in a second when she sends me the email with a PDF document. Yeah, I know. I had to teach a lot of the people over there because they didn't know what the heck they were doing. They were like, how do I do this?
So what I would do is I would save this for him as a PDF. Okay? And now I have that. And then I'm going to go into my email.
Oh. Let's make sure.
Which email am I using? NJ13?
Yeah, just do that one. That's fine.
And then I'm going
I think
to
I have all of them
attach
registered.
what I just sent, or what I just created.
Make sure I have that email put in on this iPad because
You can see it's the PDF. Is that the one you want?
I think I do. If not, I can sign in real quick because I don't know if I have all of them put in. I don't know what I got on here yet. Let me check. Okay, how do I even find email?
Well, I'll send it to the two I have. I have Gmail
Okay.
and I have Unit 5.
Okay.
We'll see which one. So anyway, we have this PDF attachment down here, and I'll send it to him. Oh,
I clicked mail, but there's not the. It doesn't tell me what inboxes I have. So. Oh wait, accounts. There we go.
do the second.
Okay, whoops. Let's see what account I'm on. Okay, so that's my Heartland one. So I'll add. You gotta be kidding me. That actually came off the clip this
You want me
time.
to
That
send
was
it to
not.
Heartland?
No, it's fine. I can sign in real quick. I did. I don't like this S8 as much. I like this is my Samsung Galaxy S8. I had an S7 before active, and I like that a lot better. So let me sign in real quick, and then we'll get back to our regular scheduled program.
So what he's doing, what this program allowed me to do was everything I did in my classes. I had my regular copy, but then I also saved it as a PDF for him, and through the program that he's logging into called iAnnotate, he can manipulate that program. Assuming he can get in.
Yep, we're good.
Okay. So he can open any Word document. When I had him in math, he could do all of his math, and it allowed him to answer right on there.
Okay. And there was the ding to tell me that I got it. Okay, yep. And so then I can open the PDF attachment.
And if I had questions on there, you can type something.
Yep. There's a bunch of different tools, and actually I updated this. This is iAnnotate 4. Another thing I figured out is they don't actually support any software over there, so I have to do all my I have to pay for it all myself, which I had to pay, I think $20 for the app or $10, something like that. Yeah, it was a lot of money.
So it would have been free through Unit 5.
Mm-hmm.
But if we would have had, like if I had questions on here, he can actually tap a text box onto the document, and then
like
right
that.
there.
And then I could just type whatever.
Questions or concerns would be whatever.
Yeah.
And send it right back to me, and then all I had, I had his document.
Mm-hmm.
So there was no paper exchange with Nathan and I. There was no worry about him having a large enough font. There was no concern about me having to stand at a copier and make sure everything was the right size or enlarged. We did this, and I was just telling him before class that I was cleaning out my H drive, and I came across a file labeled Nathan, and it was all of the things that we had sent back and forth for the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, and you saw how easy it was for me, literally going into a Word document that I already had and saving it in 10 seconds as a PDF. You would think that all your teachers were really on board with that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but there were some exceptions to that, which I will talk about in a second. I wanted to show you guys, though, also, I have this keyboard, and this keyboard is actually one that I designed myself. I can put whatever colors I need for my contrast. This is personally the color I like is blue, so I was able to kind of get it where it looks, looks good, where I could see it really clearly, and then, but it's also, large enough, and my favorite color as well. That helps as well. So I can also write in this as well if I tap the pencil icon, and I can write in any color I want, or type in any color I want to. I can highlight stuff. I can do all kinds of stuff. There's new stuff in this one I haven't even figured out all the different things it does yet, because it's got a lot of new features. But the reason I couldn't use the old iAnnotate is because it basically kicked me out and said, hey, you need to update, otherwise you are like out of luck, because it said basically we are discontinuing the original iAnnotate and we're moving to iAnnotate 4 only.
It's a really great program.
Yeah.
It would be really helpful for kids who are absent and had the program if they had it on theirs. But in Nathan's case, it was the easiest way to share documents without him having to worry about seeing, and again, like I said, without me having to worry about whether I had enlarged it enough, or again, standing in line at a copier, and if I wanted to do a map, you have to cut them. I mean, it's a great, easy to use program. Easy on both of our ends. There's little technology involved in using this technology. You just have to have access to a network, which there were days that Unit 5's network was down, much as there are like here, but as long as there were no technology issues, he and I were fine.
Yeah. And another thing too is that something nice that Heartland actually does provide, because I have been kind of putting them down for a lot of stuff. They do provide I think it's like 10 accesses to Microsoft Word on desktop, and then you get like 5 for mobile devices. So I have Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, and Excel on this iPad.
That's
Let's see, what else? Do we got any
You
other?
still use Learning Ally or whatever it's called?
Voice Dream Reader, yeah, I do, but it's kind of for pleasure reading mostly because we don't have any real. I'm not in a real, required reading class yet. That's probably coming up either this next semester or the next part of the year.
One of the programs he and I are mumbling about, it was first called Learning Ally, now we
Yeah.
use Voice Dream Reader.
Yeah.
And
I can go
it's
get
an
it, actually.
online library of books, and pretty much just about everything we read, there were a couple that were in our English class that weren't, but it allows him to, it's similar to a Kindle, but it's free, and it holds
Well,
your
it wasn't
place.
free actually. It was quite a bit of money.
For you.
Yeah, but it was $20, I think, if you pay for it
Through the
yourself.
district?
Oh,
I'm talking about through
yeah.
the district, though.
Yeah, through the district it
Yeah.
was free.
But it's a really cool program that allows you to search for books and allows you to search online, and then he could follow along without a text. Because some of the books that we read in English class, you know, they're not that big and the font's really tiny in this, except for the one book that didn't have actual page numbers, and I
That was
argued and
annoying.
argued and argued, and we fought literally while I stood at the copier and made a copy anyway. He got what he wanted. See? In a binder. Fine. Fine. It'll make you be quiet. Fine. That's honestly how it went. I was very mature. Right?
Sure. Okay, well, this is the background. I have to set everything up the way I had it because I don't have. Ooh, it's gonna try to redo us, I think. Don't want it to do that.
Can you see?
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why the text colors are black. It's not exactly helpful.
Especially if the background's black.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go.
And I can enlarge it, which I should do as well, so that way they can see what size I had it at. There it is, font. They have updated this some since I've used it, so I haven't really understood everything about it yet, because I've been learning myself. But this thing will read to you. This is actually just like the what's new thing, but it will read it to you if I.
What's new? 440.
And
Updated
it
to iOS 11.
right now it does sound like a
iOS
robot, but you can make it actually sound like a human. There was one of them that I had on here that was a more human sounding voice instead of a robot.
And it highlights the word that you're on. It will.
You could change all the
change
colors.
colors.
Zoom in as much as you want. Yeah. And also I can use this as a magnifier as well with the camera app, and we had to do this several times over at school actually. We had to use the camera app to magnify things when technology wasn't cooperating. But this is a nice one, and I like the fact too that I have the fingerprint reader, because that was something I had on the iPad that I originally had over at the school because they updated them the last year I was there. Anyway, whoop, there we go. Nope, because they stick to your finger. That's a nice part because they were in solution. But this is a contact. Yeah, there you go. There you can see that. So that is what goes in my eye. Yeah, they're exactly this size, and
You have hard contact.
yes, I have hard contacts, so these get reused. They basically, at the end of the day, I'll put them in the solution, and also usually I'll squirt some solution in my hands and kind of rub it like that. So that way you can get all the buildup off there, because there's buildup that happens on contacts. Yeah, so that way they're clean when they go in your eye. And this solution actually supposedly cleans it for you. You don't have to apparently do anything. You can just literally put it in there and it does it for you. But I still, do the standard thing, because that's what I always did with the old Boston solution, which is what I used before.
That's what I used to use.
Yeah,
It's a blue lid.
yeah, they did use the blue lid. So this is my home computer, and which is a Mac, as I mentioned. It's 2015 Mac. It's got some different features on it too that I use. One of them being Join Me, which I didn't show you on the iPad because I figured I'd show you on an actual desktop, because I do actually have Wi-Fi on here, and I believe I could actually start a meeting from my iPad as well, so you guys could see what it looks like. Because what it is it's a screen sharing software that allows me to put different documents up, so that way people can see the different various things in the classroom. So like if she shared a PowerPoint on her projector in class, And this is anybody can use the software. It's totally free. I actually use it for Encounter on Monday nights, which is a thing I do over here on campus. And
The program's still on my desk.
it might be. But it's a free software. Anybody can download it, and then you just literally ask your professor or teacher to install the program. And then it has these two options, which is start and join. And so I have the same thing here on the iPad, which I guess I'll start a meeting on the computer and show it to you on the iPad.
We used it as, how many of you are familiar with smartboards?
Mhm.
Okay, so I use the smartboard off of my desktop every day in math. And we downloaded Join Me onto that computer, and then I would open up a one-time code, give him the code, and he would see on his laptop exactly what I was displaying on the smartboard. So it didn't matter how close he was sitting, it didn't matter what part of the room he was sitting in. He was able to see real time on his screen what I was doing on mine. And then I think you could save it.
Yeah, you can screenshot it,
Screenshot.
or you can also play videos through it. Basically anything that will show up on your computer, you can see on there. Yeah. And so usually she would read off the code to me. I'd put it on the iPad under the join section after she had started the meeting, and then you'd begin to see the desktop, which I'm working on. No such meeting. Well, that's nice.
Code.
Polite message.
494.
And it does change every time as well. It's not just
150.
one kind of code.
157.
That's a lot of fives.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
There we go. Now we see my MacBook Pro screen on the iPad, and there are some new features as well on this. They just updated it yesterday, so I don't know what all the features are.
So whatever he does on here, it's
Yeah.
going to show up on there.
So like if I was to go and open a internet page, and I was going to go and, for example, show a PowerPoint, which I actually have all the PowerPoints for our lyrics for our Monday night Encounter stuff. So that's how I actually display all the stuff on my YouTube page, is using the Join Me software, believe it or not. Because it's a free software and I don't have to pay any money for it. And you can zoom in with the Mac and then
Ladies
it'll
and
show
gentlemen.
up there as well.
It's a really cool program for those that, if you're in a large classroom or someone is sitting off to the side and they can't see very well, or they want a copy of the notes, you can just do a join. And like I said, it's free to download. It didn't cost anything to put on either one of our computers. It's just a program. It's an app kind of thing. And so all of our kids at Unit 5 are using one-to-one devices. They all have their own laptops that are school issued, or their own device that they brought. So they can put that on there and save the notes as we go. And so they can go home in any class, whether it's history or chemistry or whatever, and have a copy of the notes right off their computer, which is really kind of cool.
Yeah, so like right now, for example, I have a PowerPoint presentation open, and as I go through it, this is actually one of our lyric slides for Encounter, but you can like click through it, and as you see, it changes in real time on the iPad. And that does depend on your internet connection. If you have a really slow internet connection like we do, aka Frontier, not saying any names, but Frontier, they are the slowest internet provider out there. But anyway, though, if you have something like that, then your internet might not allow you to actually do this software, or it might be very pixelated. But if you have a decent like college or basically any school, or even a church Wi-Fi or whatever, you would have a good view pretty much of what's on there. And my phone actually has a magnifier app. I can't show you that because I'm live streaming right now, but there is a magnifier app that's built into on the Android phones. You just click it. It's a widget that you can add, and then you can zoom in on stuff. You can also change the colors, just like the professional magnifier that I had before, except it's built into your phone. So you don't have to pay the, I don't know, several $1,000s that it costs for it.
We're back on that.
Yeah, I think we're ready for the PowerPoint again.
Where'd it go?
I don't know.
I don't know.
There it is. Okay. All right. So I think we've covered.
By the way, is Nathan standing on a 10-foot, 12-foot
That is, yeah, 12. I have been on taller. I have been on taller, and actually I'm tempted to stop the stream because I've actually got something that I did this summer, and it's up on an even taller, it's actually up on a lift, and I don't think Misty has seen this yet. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the stream so I can